Don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey, where tonight Main Events presents an evening of World Championship Boxing for your entertainment. Brought to you in association with Caesars and Bally's Atlantic City, sponsored by Nemiroff, all bouts sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. This first bout is promoted by Peltz Boxing, Duva Boxing, and DiBella Entertainment. And this event is dedicated to the late Bill McManus. The three judges at ringside scoring this contest on the 10-point system are Joe Pasquale, Shafiq Rashada, and Steve Weisfeld. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Randy Newman. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Atlantic City, New Jersey, 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red, gold, and green. Official weight, 153 pounds. Professional record, 28 victories, including 18 knockouts, with only one defeat. Originally from Accra, Ghana, now living and fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Here is the challenger. He's ranked as high as #2 in the world in the junior middleweight division. He is Sir KOFI Jantuah. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white with silver. His official weight, 152 pounds. His professional record, 20 victories, including 13 knockouts, with only one defeat and one draw, and he is undefeated in the last 5 years. Originally from Kampala, Uganda, he now fights out of West Palm Beach, Florida, the reigning, defending IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, KASSIM the Dream Oumah.
Terrible hit. Okay, guys, let's go. Okay, we've gone over the rules. You're very familiar. Hang on and listen to me. As I said, wait. Hold it down. The rules have been gone over. I tell you to break, I mean break. I want you to defend yourselves at all times. One last thing again. If somebody goes out of the ring, they have a count of 20 to come back in unassisted. Unassisted. If somebody goes out of the ring, you can't help them. Is that clear? All right, shake hands and come out of the bell.
If ever there was a fight that might steal the show from Arturo Gatti, this could be it.
Stolen my heart already. I don't know when I've been so excited about the first fight on our show.
Ouma's just a character who just brings that era into the arena with him.
Yeah, he definitely does. When Oumah first arrived here in America, he was calling every African fighter he could think of, and he called Jantuah, and they became friends over the phone. Understanding that it was possible this would eventually have to happen. Body shot by Jantuah early, and another body shot as KOFI, who has been successful as a headhunter, comes out working to the body. CompuBox has been counting punches for 20 years. KASSIM Oumah holds every record in the 154-pound division for most punches thrown, most punches landed. In fact, the top 4 fights in terms of punches landed are all his.
Well, Oumah's already trying to make an adjustment. He's felt the strength of his opponent, and all of a sudden, instead of raining punches, he's using his legs, Roy.
Yeah, he's smart. You can't stand still for a guy that punches as hard as Jantuah does. Because if he can set up his punches, we've seen what he can do. You don't want him to be able to plant his feet. That's why Uma is making him move around. He's going left, he's going right.
And Jantuah almost caught him on the end of a left hook.
He did catch him, Roy, but Uma took it. He was moving away, and it didn't land with full force.
Now Jantuah has him trapped against the ropes and works to the body as he did at the beginning of the round. Obviously, Jantuah feels as though if he goes to the ribcage, he can get Uma to drop his hands a little bit.
Yeah,
and set something up.
And try to wear him down so he doesn't throw so many punches.
Straight right hand lands for Jantuah. Uma backs up. Certainly KASSIM Ouma is fighting this first round as though he's decided that Jantuah's power is a factor to be respected.
Not necessarily. He's just fighting his fight, I think, you know. Because if he was running from the power, he wouldn't be there trading with him right now. He's not afraid of nobody's power. You can believe that. He's been through so much in his lifetime that nothing else in this ring can scare him.
Jantuah said it's his bullets against my grenades. And he is throwing the grenades.
Yeah, he's definitely a stronger puncher, don't get me wrong. And he outweighs Uma by 6 pounds.
Yeah, he looks like a serious full middleweight, Roy.
But now Uma begins to let his hands go more freely and begins to land punches in combination. You've got what amounts to all-star teams of fighters in the corners of these two fighters, or all-star teams of former fighters. Co-trainer Johnny Bumpus and chief second Tim Witherspoon are both in the corner of KASSIM Ouma. Kofi Jantuah has Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, a former 154-pound world titleist, and Jeff Mayweather, the third of the three Mayweather brothers, in his corner.
Look, keep your hands up, okay? That's important. All right, champ? Dig to his body. When you jab, dig to his body. Don't stay for. But you were too close. Put yourself a little way. Half a step, just a half a step, and go over here. Eh? Okay? Breathe deep. Give me some water. Give me the mouthpiece, Rafael.
CompuBox numbers in round one show a surprising reversal. Uma, who might have been expected to throw 95 punches in the round, threw 74, landed 25. Jantuah, who would have been expected to throw about 70 punches in the round, threw 95. So they reversed roles a little bit, as Jantuah maybe found it easier to land than he might have expected.
Well, for Uma, that's good because the more punches he throws, the less he'll have that power stored up. So if you can get him to punch a little bit lighter, that'd be good for KASSIM Ouma.
Right. In making Jantuah throw 95 punches in the first round, you're saying maybe he emptied his quiver of a couple of arrows, huh?
Just of a couple. It's not totally empty yet, but he has emptied it of a couple. And that works in Uma's favor.
Now they go shoulder to shoulder for quite an extended time. Referee Randy Newman, himself a former heavyweight fighter, lets him fight inside. Strong left hook by Jantuah, tries to follow it with a sledgehammer right. Ouma inside of Jantuah, landing with both hands.
It looks as though Ouma now wants to try to smother the punching power of Jantuah. But he's right there to be hit.
Once again, I think he's just trying to make him work hard, make him use some of that power up.
Jantuah working the uppercut and knocking Ouma back a couple of steps with a hard right hand uppercut.
Anytime Jantuah tries to stop punching, though, Ouma starts right away to make him keep punching.
Some of these punches blocked by Uma's guard. And all of these punches probably being thrown at closer range and more inside than Jantuah ideally wants to be. You heard Miguel Diaz between rounds saying, go back and find your range.
And you got to give that credit to Uma because he's not allowing him to fight him outside because he knows he's not the bigger puncher outside.
Right, get out of there.
Now Jantuah seems to be seeping some blood onto Uma's shoulder. There's a small trickle of blood on Uma's shoulder, which could have come from Jantuah's nose or from his mouth or his eye. Hard to tell.
Boy, there's a lot of contact here, guys.
Virtually the whole second round was fought in a phone booth to Uma's favor. February 19, it's Hopkins against Eastman for the undisputed middleweight title. Also rising middleweight Jermaine Taylor shows what he can do against hard-punching Daniel Edouard. 1 week later, Miguel Cotto takes on DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. Corley was the entry-level 140-pound opponent for Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now we'll see what Cotto can do against him.
Champ, you hear me? He don't like it to the body, okay? Stick out and use your jab. He's lackadaisical, he's slow. Keep touching him. Go around to the left, to your left.
Miguel Diaz and Rafael Garcia are working on Kofi Jantuah's right eye, so that must be where the blood came from. CompuBox numbers in round 2. Uma threw 82 punches, Jantuah threw 91. So in the first 2 rounds of the fight, Jantuah's already thrown 186 punches. And even though he lands a big right hand on Uma, Uma's able to take it pretty well.
Uma takes a good shot.
Now it becomes clear that Jantuah has a tiny cut, and it appears to be on the right eyelid. So maybe that's something that could work against him as the fight progresses.
Right, let him out.
Good left hand by Uma, followed by a strong right hand to the body by Jantuah.
Yeah, but Jantuah is starting to wear. He's not used to this pace.
He's
and
slowing
you can
down.
see it on him already. He's starting to wear. And Uma knows this.
And Uma put just a little bit more into his punches as Jantuah visibly began to slow.
Yeah, he's beginning to wear just a little. He has to be very careful here because a power puncher usually is not that powerful for long. And if you make him use it up early, you can wear him down the end. Right now, he's starting to look really bad after he throws the big shots.
Jantuah looking a little bit wobbly on his feet now as Uma continues to work at a pace which is very comfortable for him.
Oh, good left hand by Uma.
Solid straight left hand by Uma, who shows in his face and in his body movements that he's very relaxed.
Very, very relaxed. Like I said, going through all he's been through, there's no reason for him to worry about nothing. He's seen real bombs and bullets coming at him. He's not afraid of the shots that Jantuah is throwing at him tonight.
What does relaxation do for a fighter, Roy?
Helps him take a punch better, helps him deal with fatigue better, but sometimes it's not the best thing for taking a punch because if a guy catches you in the middle of that relaxation, you're going to have a problem taking the punch.
Good body shot by Uma. Jantuah short with the right hand and long with the left hook. Again, Uma stepping inside into a range that isn't advantageous for Jantuah's power punching. Jantuah tries to back him up with the right hand. Uma comes right back. What could Jantuah do to create space?
Nothing, because he got to use a jab. He's not a jabber, he's a puncher. Punchers want to hit. That's why he's intrigued about staying right here inside, because he thinks this means that he can land those big punches, and it's working against him. KASSIM Oumah is using his own power against him. Every time he misses with a big shot, watch KASSIM Oumah go to his body.
Should you wonder at all what the mentality of a puncher is, Jantuah said to us yesterday, here's my view of boxing. We're both going to hit each other, and whoever hits hardest is going to win. That's the way punchers think.
Okay. All right, come on. Sit down. All right. All right, check this out. Check this out, champ. Put the pressure on his ass this round. You can go inside, outside. You gotta keep your hands up, okay? You're doing good, baby. You're doing good. You're getting tired, okay? The head, in the middle of the head. He's getting tired. Keep your hands up. Be very careful, all right?
Give me the right hand over here. Don't just stay over here, No, stay in the distance and give me the right hand, right here. Okay? Okay. Jab, right hand to the body, left up to the head. Punch him to the body. Right here, man. Relax. Right hand to the body. Right, champ? Go to your left. All right.
Already, you think enough emphasis was put on in Jantuah's corner on trying to make him to remember to jab more?
I don't think so. What else is discouraging to him that people don't pay attention to is the fact that about 10 seconds before the round starts, KASSIM OUMA is up jumping around calling him to come out the corner. You don't need no more rest. I'm not tired. Come on. And it's bothering this guy.
Ouma landed more than half his punches in the last round. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28. KASSIM OUMA. Jim, I gotta tell you something. Speed kills, and KASSIM OUMA is so quick. And in round 2 and in round 3, it's the hand speed that's landing the cleaner punches. KOFI JANTUAH really looks bothered by both of KASSIM OUMA's hands in his face. So on clean punching on the inside, KASSIM OUMA 2-1.
Most fighters like to train in comfortable, familiar circumstances. Ouma, ever searching for connection to human beings, loves to go from gym to gym so that he can spar with different guys, see different looks, feel different circumstances. Before a big fight like this one, Ouma might train in as many as 3 different gyms.
That's very smart.
When he first came to America with the idea of trying to fight Oscar De La Hoya for $1 million, Ouma's plan was to take that money back to Uganda to support his entire family. He said to us, I only would have needed about $10 a day for me, and the rest I could have spent on them.
Well, the problem with Ouma, though, is going back as he's considered a deserter in the army there.
Hard left hook by Jantuah, his best punch since the first round. Ouma walks right through it and keeps throwing at close range. Jantuah may be feeling an early sense of desperation already at the onrushing tide of Ouma. He just never stops.
Yeah, he is. He knows that he's not going to be able to hold his pace. So he's trying to find a knockout as quick as he can here. He knows good and well he's not ready for this pace all night. No puncher you ever seen pretty much is ready for a pace like this for 12 rounds.
Well, and particularly a guy who's put on 14 or 15 pounds overnight, trying to buttress that power.
And he's pretty much a shot fighter right about now.
Amazing. Amazing how rapidly Jantuah's energy has gone away in the face of Ouma's pace. But now Jantuah's starting to land again and hoping to land one big shot. And Ouma's smiling and laughing at him as round 4 comes to a close. He'll go to war with me.
Jim, this fight opened with Ouma a 3-1 favorite. Some big money came in on Jantuah to knock the odds down to virtually even. Right now, the original odds are looking better and better.
The recognized champion at 154 pounds, of course, is Ronald Winky Wright. Wright, who seems to have completed negotiations and an agreement to fight Felix Trinidad at 160 pounds later this year. Like Ouma, he's a southpaw. If they ever fought, it would be fascinating to see Ouma's all-out offense against Wright's stern defense.
Well, they're actually two very similar fighters. They both are very busy. They both keep their hands tucked to the side of their heads. They don't mind taking punches to give punches.
They don't mind fighting inside.
Neither
That could
one
be a
of them.
phone booth fight.
That's what it would be.
Yeah, but Trinidad carries the bombs.
Hard punch by Jantuah. Jantuah misses over the top with the right hand. Already, it seems, Kofi Jantuah has come to the conclusion he needs to produce a one-punch knockout.
No, he just hit Uma with a clean, hard right on the jaw. Uma didn't blink.
And Larry, I was speaking about Uma fighting Winky Wright, not Trinidad.
Okay.
Oh, don't hit him in the back. Don't hit him in the back.
My bad.
Break it up. Break it up. Don't swing him back
Yeah, but
here.
your point was maybe it never happens if Trinidad gets in a whack on Winky and changes his life.
Well, but Winky, even if he loses, would still be the junior middleweight champion.
That's exactly right.
And this would still be a very interesting fight to see because they definitely would share a very close vicinity in the ring.
And with De La Hoya and Mosley planning to go back down to welterweight, suddenly that division has emptied out a bit.
Jantuah nailing Uma against the ropes, but you see Uma ducking, slipping, moving around past Jantuah's gloves and finding ways to land his own straight punches. Mostly to the body. Uma trying to slip along the ropes to the right. Jantuah trying to keep him in jail.
And doing so effectively so far.
If you look at the small uppercuts that Uma is throwing inside, those punches are really having a bad bearing on Jantuah. He doesn't like to be hit up the middle with those short uppercuts.
Uma's defense is better than you expect from a guy who averages 100 punches around. And maybe some of the schooling of Tim Witherspoon has something to do with that. Both Tim Witherspoon and Johnny Bumpus were adept defensive fighters. They both work with Uma in the gym.
So we get your breathing right.
I'm good.
Yeah, champ. Hold on, let me go to the head. All right, get him right first so I can start talking to him. Start, did you? Yeah. All right, now breathe, champ, breathe. Breathe. Start circling, okay? All right, listen down.
Here you see Jantuah land one of the best punches of the fight for him, a boom overhand right lead, which normally gets rid of fighters, and like Larry said, Uma didn't even move. And inside you see the little short right uppercuts that I said Uma was throwing that really are bothering Jantuah on the inside.
We're going to find out soon whether those 20 miles he would run every day to and from training going to help him survive in a strong way in this fight. Remember, Jantuah fought a 12-round fight, Roy, in his 6th professional fight.
Running 20 miles a day, I don't see why not.
You know, that old saying about Caribbean ball players, how you can't walk off the island, you have to hit your way off the island.
Yep.
Well, if you come from Africa, you're not going to do it by boxing. You're going to do it by slugging and fighting to get here into this kind of a fight.
Coming into this round, by CompuBox estimate, the two fighters had thrown exactly the same number of punches, or almost exactly the same, 411, 412. But it's Uma who's landing at a 45% connect rate, and Jantuah landing the harder punches at about 30%. The harder punches would make a difference if they were hurting Uma. They don't seem to be doing so.
Oh, good left hand by Uma.
It looks like under all of this pressure that Jantuah is just looking to land some big punches instead of using his boxing. He's just thrown 3 or 4 jabs for the first time in the fight. But he's fighting more like a brawler than a boxer puncher.
He's trying to knock Uma out.
Larry, we have an internet question. The question coming from the internet for you is, if Winky Wright goes up and beats Felix Trinidad, stays at 160, or for whatever reason fights neither of these guys, could the winner of this fight conceivably wind up fighting comebacking Fernando Vargas, who'll be back on our air in March?
Sure, it's possible. We have to find out if Vargas can go through a hard training with his back problems and how he looks, but he's fighting at 160. Jim, he's coming back as a middleweight, not a junior middleweight.
Well, there's the answer for the internet questioner. They'd have to go to 160 if that's where Vargas is going to stay. Boy, you think a fighter can come back from a bad back?
I think he can. I mean, Benny Pazenza came back from a bad neck. How much worse can it get?
Right.
It's difficult, don't get me wrong, but I think he can do it. A lot of times, it's all about how bad a person wants it.
And Fernando's always had a ton of desire, and he's very strong.
Yep.
Round 6 of a scheduled 12. We're halfway through the fight. KOFI JANTUAH hasn't been able to knock out KASSIM OUMA, and OUMA believes the second half of the fight belongs to him. Jabs a rumor tonight. Of the 356 total combined connected punches so far, only 35 of them were jabs. Harold, how do you have it at the halfway point of the fight?
Okay, Jim, 4 rounds to 2, 58, 56. KASSIM OUMA. Jim, I gotta tell you something very unusual. Every time KASSIM OUMA lands a combination to KOFI JANTUAH's head, KOFI JANTUAH staggers forward and looks down at the floor. Now, don't ask me why he does it. He's been doing it for 6 rounds already. Now it looks like he's getting staggered. But in any case, I thought OUMA took the 5th round off. Other than that, OUMA's just been outboxing him. And watch JANTUAH stagger forward. It makes the judges think that he's really hurt.
If OUMA took the 5th round off, he's using that fuel right now. Because he's come out with a burst of energy in the 6th, and indeed did seem to be rocking JANTUAH around on the balls of his feet there for a moment.
What else? The other thing I think that bothers JANTUAH is that no matter how hard he hits KASSIM OUMA, it doesn't seem to have no effect on him at all.
Yeah, that's bound to be discouraging for a puncher.
Especially for a puncher.
You expect to hurt the man when you are able to throw big the way JANTUAH has.
At some point, you expect to.
Another hard right hand lands for JANTUAH, and another. And OUMA continues to just walk right through the bigger man's punches.
Volume versus power. Volume is winning.
The funniest thing about it is one of UMA's best punches is his jab. He'll swap a straight right hand from JANTUAH for a jab. Not often you see fighters do that, because a straight right hand is a power shot.
Standing flat-footed and throwing real nice combinations.
The key to UMA's willingness to trade a jab for a right hand is his firm belief that he can take any right hand from JANTUAH.
That's true, too.
At this point, he just doesn't think JANTUAH is going to hurt him. UMA has supple muscles. Perfect for boxing. You don't tire nearly as rapidly as your opponent when you have the kind of loose, supple musculature that KASSIM OUMA has. It allows you to be quick, reflexive, responsive. JANTUAH's stronger, he's tireder. Well, you may wonder about JANTUAH's knockout power.
Go ahead. The last notable fighter to come from UMA's home was John the Beast Mugabe, middleweight, best remembered for an awesome fight with Marvin Hagler.
And a very strong puncher.
In round 7, KASSIM OUMA, by CompuBox Lights, landed 57 out of 98 punches. Those are high totals for the fight. JANTUAH was 21 out of 73, landing at exactly the rate at which he's been landing all along, right about 30%.
Now, Jantuah is just getting chopped up here. And the reason, I guess, he looks down at the floor, Harold Letterman, is to try to avoid some of those punches. But he can't seem to do it now. There are no dimes or nickels or instructions or anything on the canvas.
This KASSIM Oumah is a busy guy, you hear me? That was a good body shot by Jantuah, but I don't think it bothers Oumah.
Left hook upstairs, almost caught Oumah, but again Oumah dances away. Mike McCallum, one of the premier body punchers of his era back in the 80s, slipped his head between the ropes in Jantuah's corner and suggested softly that Jantuah should go to the body before going to the head, and Kofi's tried it in this round.
Good overhand right by Kofi.
Seven punches in a row, 8, 9 punches in a row by Oumah. Got hit with the right hand.
Didn't care.
Roy, there are 4 rounds remaining in the fight. It looks less and less as though Jantuah has any chance at the knockout he came here hoping for. If you're in his corner, what would you tell him to do?
Exactly what Mike McCallum told him to do, go to the body more. You know this guy's power, the strength of KASSIM Oumah is his willing to go the distance and go it very strong, so he can last for a long time. He's a Duracell battery. Go to the body, that takes away some of the energy from the Energizer Bunny. He's still trying to knock him out. You'll never get him like that.
That's right, champ.
It won't surprise you to know that KASSIM Oumah has shown great stamina in his fights.
You know, we've talked about Oumah's troubled childhood, something that is a kind of African version of Charles Dickens' story. But he's had problems here in America. He's walked away from 2 car crashes and was shot in a drive-by shooting and had part of his intestines cut out and survived that.
He believes he was the target of the drive-by shooting.
He's a true survivor.
Imagine this. Oumah has 11 brothers and sisters. He was the only member of the family who was kidnapped into the Civil War. The rest of his brothers and sisters continued to live their lives. Some went to college. Oumah didn't see his family for 10 years while he was living on the front lines of face-to-face combat every day.
And today he helps to support them and is sending some of his siblings to college.
He also wears on the back of his trunks the label of an organization named Oxfam. Oxfam is an international development and relief agency which is currently involved in tsunami relief. A 30-year-old organization which works around the globe, and Oumah wants to make a statement on behalf of them.
Let him go.
Couldn't find a nicer guy.
Jantuah looking like just trying to survive here, losing his power, was unable to get much attention from Oumah early in the fight with his power. How can he do it now? Looks like a baited bull in a bullfight. You know, weak and bleeding.
But the bull has impressed me because I didn't expect him to be around this long with the power shots that he threw and missed with earlier. Oh,
You thought he would have run out of gas before now.
Well, a little bit worse than he has because he was showing us real fatigue early. The last round, he stood up between rounds, as Larry pointed out.
That's true. As early as the 3rd round, Jantuah seemed to be withering under the pace.
So those 20 miles may be coming into play now.
He still hasn't been able to hurt KASSIM OUMA. And if he hasn't hurt him through the first 9 rounds, it's difficult to imagine how he's going to hurt him in 10, 11, and 12.
Always got to give a puncher a chance, though.
Well, there could be a judge or two who favors the harder shots that Jantuah is landing over the larger volume that Uma's landing. We've seen that philosophical divide before.
Yeah, but Uma's landing some pretty good power shots himself at times. Like that uppercut right there.
Perfect uppercut.
Ref! Watch the hand. Okay. Come on, baby, sit down. When we gonna go home, champ? When we gonna go home? All I said. That's right. That's right. Dig it? Slow down and hit it with harder shots. Turn that right hook over, too. You're doing good, champ. You're looking good. Right. Okay? You gotta do it. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. Drink it, drink it, drink it, drink it, drink it, drink it. One more, one more.
You wonder if Jantuah is standing up because he's afraid if he sits down, he won't be able to get back up again.
That's a good point.
Well, that's why George Foreman said that he didn't sit down between rounds, because he felt like he expended more energy sitting down and standing up than if he just walked over there and stood there. Of course, there is psychology in it. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim. 88-83, 7 rounds to 2. KASSIM OUMA. Outside of rounds 1, which I thought KOFI JANTUAH won with the harder shots, and round 5, where Ouma laid on the ropes and really seemed just to take a round off. I can't see KOFI JANTUAH winning another round. KASSIM OUMA totally outboxing him. KOFI JANTUAH staggering around in round 9 as if he wanted to quit. I mean, and you know, the judges look at that and they say, hey, this guy's just not in the fight. So I think by, you know, his appearance alone, he's losing this thing big on the cards of the judges.
Tim Witherspoon and Johnny Bumpus have been trying to work on Ouma to have more head movement, and just moments ago, you saw a couple of brilliant displays of how to slip the jab. Of course, he's slipping a tired jab, and that's easier.
So, Harold, was that bad ring generalship you're talking about?
I would say so.
We asked trainer Miguel Diaz why Jantuah is standing up between rounds, and the answer is he just doesn't want to sit. Larry?
Well, it looks like we've been seeing the same movie since the 2nd round.
Which makes it less exciting than some of us thought it might be.
Jantuah just hasn't lived up to his end. He hasn't been able to land enough of what he called grenades.
But he still has that power.
Yeah, but if power doesn't land,
it
ain't power.
It's actually landing some, just not doing any good here.
Well, and Jantuah has slowed down to such an extent now that Ouma can see everything coming. So even if Jantuah lands a right hand, when Ouma sees it coming, he's able to roll just a little bit or turn a little bit and diminish the impact, and then come back with 4 or 5 punches of his own.
I agree with that to a degree, but I've seen Ouma get caught with some flush shots like that left hook right there that just do not bother him.
That's right. Now, that's a good point. It isn't all because he rolls or turns away. Some of them he just takes.
He just don't care.
But what Ouma has,
look at that,
is a real athletic sense of when to punch, where to punch, a great intuition in the ring, whether he should throw a short little punch like that, a harder punch, a little punch to the body. He just has a fighter's intuition and fights smart as well as tough.
And Jantuah seems to know it. He looks very discouraged as he goes back to...
great job of helping him to restore him after 1988 when he lost 3 times, twice to Ivan Robinson, and to help him revert to the style that was effective for him early in his career after he created so much excitement by being a warrior.
Roy Jones is discovering that his fans still love him just as much after 2 consecutive losses. Arturo Gatti at one point lost 3 consecutive fights on HBO, and it was clear each time he was more popular than the last.
Yeah, because fans realize when you are a real help to the sport. Arturo Gatti gave this sport some of the best, most thrilling fights you ever could see from any athlete. I mean, fights that are better than movies that could be made, or scenes that could be made up in movies, you know what I mean? So people respect that, and they know a real true fighter and a true champion when they see one.
Yeah, I met a fan earlier today who told me when he comes to a Gatti fight, it's like he's going to a Rocky movie, only live, and you don't know how it's going to end.
And you can't ask for nothing better than that in this sport.
Hey, even Leija said when he fights one of those fights like the first fight against Mickey Ward, I'm in awe of that. It blows me away.
Keep up.
This fight is not blowing us away anymore.
Because Uma is making it look easy.
And I think, the case may be made that in the American boxing marketplace, there's only room for one African junior middleweight, and we're finding out which one it is tonight.
Which, quite frankly, is great for boxing journalists, great for all of us who report on the sport, because we won't find a better story than KASSIM UMA.
And you won't find too much of a bigger heart than KASSIM UMA. The only thing that he might be the only guy who has a heart that can match that of Arturo Gatti right here tonight.
One big right-hand shot from Jantuah, who had been shaking his head to indicate that Uma didn't hurt him with the 15 or 20 punches with which he hit him in that last flurry. Uma's not trying to hurt him. He's just keeping the leather on him. The first American trainer or manager of any note to see KASSIM UMA was Lou Duva. Lou Duva said, I think this kid has something, and sent him to Johnny Bumpus's gym in West Palm Beach. Bumpus says the first couple of days he wasn't terribly impressive. Then we let him go into the ring and spar. And all of a sudden, everybody's eyes lit up.
What round is this? Last round, baby. Last round. 12th round. Sit down, champ. There you go. Hold. There you go. Champ, keep your hands up. You did a beautiful job tonight. You did a beautiful job tonight. It ain't over, though. 3 minutes, okay? Oh, okay. I'll sit down there.
Vamos, big one. 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes.
2 jabs. As he come towards the pull back hook right hand. What up? You got a long way to go, okay?
3 minutes.
You want to defend this title 15 more times.
You can knock him out, see?
Okay?
Okay. 3 minutes. We got it, yes, 3 minutes.
Mouthpiece. All right, cycle down. Let's go.
They touch gloves. Jantuah tries to sneak in a good jab. Uma comes back with a combination. Let's see if round 12 looks any different than its 10 predecessors. Since the first round, which was good and competitive, and which Jantuah looked as though he might be doing some damage, it's been mostly KASSIM UMA.
Uma has the versatility to make changes, to gauge the power of Jantuah and find a way to neutralize it, and then do his own work.
Definitely has the heart of a killer. The heart of a warrior, I should say. does not stop. And people don't understand how much conditioning it takes to be able to do what he's doing right now for 12 rounds.
Amazing. And the way that the constant barrage of pity-pat punches ultimately wears the opponent down reminds me of Chris Bird in the heavyweight division. Eventually, a storm of gnats will wear you down. Jantuah lumbering around now, trying to land one big punch. He lands one of his best right hands of the whole fight. Misses wildly, trying to follow it up. Uma's been hit with 2 hard shots in this round, but continues to just keep going, like Gumby.
Uma's been hit with 5 hard shots this round, and none of it seems to bother him a bit. Like having a fly just buzzing around your ear that you can't get rid of because he doesn't go anywhere.
And if you hit him, he doesn't splatter.
He bites back, as a matter of fact.
Uma able to stand still against the ropes now with impunity, as he blocks most of Jantuah's punches with his arms, gloves, and elbows.
With this fight, Uma is going to become one of the new faces in boxing, replacing some of the old faces that are fading away. And you can see that in the future, the big fight in this division, depending on the outcome of the Wright and Trinidad fight, could be Uma and Winky Wright.
Like Juan Diaz in the lightweight division, though, he's going to fight a lot of rounds.
And he won't mind. Like he said, he's living his childhood out right now. The best mentality he can have being in the ring for as many rounds as he's going to be in there.
And unlike Diaz, who's all intensity, Uma's all relaxed. Loose. It's part of why he takes punches so well. Harold Letterman's final card shows Uma winning each of the last 7 rounds, en route to winning 10 out of 12. KASSIM wanders the ring looking for new friends. Judges tonight, Joe Pasquale. Camera picture shows you that Uma's over here chatting with Larry and Roy as we look at the judges. Shafiq Rashada. And at the bottom, you're seeing a noteworthy fight that we've chosen just to give you a sample of how the judge has scored in the past. Steve Weisfeld of New Jersey. Bird Galata recently.
Roy, Jim, it seems to me that as well as he takes a punch, that he could also move into the middleweight division at some time.
Wouldn't be a very big hitter in the middleweight division, but it wouldn't matter.
He's not a big hitter in this division.
That's why I decided I can fight the top one. He knocked everybody out. He didn't try me. I didn't get no count. Punch him out, you know what I'm saying? That's what kind of boxer I am. You know? Yeah, okay, I didn't take him out, but did you feel you were too fast for him? Yeah, I'm too fast than him. I'm just slicker than him.
Michael Buffer has the particulars. Let's hear who won the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Steve Weisfeld scores it 118 to 110. Shafiq Rashada 116 to 112. Joseph Pasquale scores it 117 to 111. All for the winner by unanimous decision, and still IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, KASSIM the Dream Oumbah.